Hey everybody, this is the Post Movie Podcast. I'm Steve Head.
I'm John Black.
And on this week's episode, we're going to review Contagion.
Contagion?
The funny thing is that as far as introducing a show, I don't want to go right into the we do the review, we do this, I gotta get better at
intros,
transitions.
Yeah. And, but don't leave everyone hanging. We are going to talk about Contagion.
Oh yeah.
And Warrior.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
actually wasn't bad.
They've had so many screenings for that. I think you could have seen it 3 or 4 times before it even came out if you were, that determined. I think once is enough.
The New York Times gave it A.O. Scott and the New York Times gave it a great review.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
I also want to. I feel we've got this new microphone set up at the moment here, and I feel trapped.
That's a good thing.
My chin is being invaded by a piece of cardboard, and I'm forcing me to sit up and enunciate.
Never let them look behind the curtain, Steve. This is like Oz.
This is what's happening. This is radical honesty.
Oh, that's what. As far as change the name to Radical Honesty.
Man, I want to tell you, I have been really digging just a couple minutes on the Harvard Film Archive and what they've been showing this week. Suburbia.
Oh, the
Times
punk
Square,
music, punk movies,
DOA, Rite of Passage. So digging it. I mean, I can't even tell you how awesome it was to see some films that I really loved when I was, I want to say a kid, but actually it's the early 80s. So
you're a kid.
17, 18, something like that.
Your formative years.
I was 16, 17 in 1982 when those movies came out. Well, they're about. Times Square was 1980. I think Suburbia was 1984, but it was neat seeing it on the big screen like that after just being used to it on video after all these years.
Well, Laura, who does ReelingNews.com.
I'm familiar with it.
She did a story when she did the preview for the punk movie at the archives. She did a story about her favorite music movies,
right.
And she recommended. Well, she talked about one called Linda, 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 which is a Japanese movie from the early '90s about 4 schoolgirls in Japan who put together a band. And I remember playing at the Brattle.
Linda. You know what? I do think I recall it.
The song will stick in your head. I won't sing it because that's just abusing the airwaves. But it's really a good movie. I got it from Netflix. Came out
4 or 5 years ago.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
and it's got
I can recall it now. It's kind of recent.
The guitarist from the Smashing Pumpkins, whose name I don't know, did the music for it. No, the guitar player, the Asian guitar player,
I don't know.
Did the music for it, and it's really a good movie. And that song just sticks in your head.
I'll keep a look out for it.
Yeah, it's worth checking out, definitely.
And so this weekend they're showing The Blank Generation on Sunday, in addition to the Fassbender flick World on a Wire. But tonight, Sarah and I and friends, we're going to go check out Desperate Teenage Love Dolls.
Is that part of the
small
program,
things
or is
I
it
love?
A private showing?
No, it's part of their American Punk series. It's at I don't. There's no way I can get this podcast published before then. But anyway, it's tonight at 9.
Who puts together the series there?
David.
I have a suggestion they'll never follow. The other.
Hayden Guess.
I guess
David Pendleton.
All right, a couple weeks ago they had this thing on Star Network about martial arts films. It was, I don't know if you've seen it. Samuel L. Jackson is the host for it.
No,
it's like the history of Hong Kong movies, kung fu movies, samurai movies, and all that. And since then, I've been hooked on kung fu. And I was anyway.
On kung fu before.
I know, but now I've got an excuse. Now it's like I'm not doing work because I want to see another movie, and I've been hooked on Sonny Chiba films.
All right. Yeah.
And for people who may not recognize the name, he was the
Street Fighter.
Well, yeah, but he was also in
Fighter.
Kill Bill. He was the samurai that Uma Thurman goes to get a sword from. But I've been watching Street Fighter, the Bodyguard,
do you have Sister Street Fighter?
Yes, I do.
That's the one of the Street Fighter films that I don't have.
They're so different than Jackie Chan's all about the comedy. He did some action films early in his career, but he found his niche in comedy. Bruce Lee is kind of the quick, fast, stylish guy. Sonny Chiba just kicks ass. And granted, these movies are 70s film where, the blood looks like ketchup and one punch and it knocks a guy's eye out or it breaks his arm off or something. So they're kind of cheesy, but man, they're a lot of fun.
Did he do one that was sort of this action flick on a train?
Yes, Bullet Train.
That's the one I'd wanted to see.
I've got it. This package. I picked up 2 packages of Sonny Chiba movies. One has 4 movies. One has 6. And the one that has 6, it's the Grindhouse Experience. So
does Mill Creek have Bullet Train, or is that?
No, this is a package I picked up a while ago, and just never really watched. And it's the Grindhouse Experience. So they'll have like trailers for Grindhouse movies and an intermission. And this one I watched, Bodyguard. You can tell where Tarantino gets a lot of his influence, because you remember in Pulp Fiction where Samuel L. Jackson is giving that big proclamation before he shoots anyone, about being the righteous and all that. Yeah. That's the lead into this Sonny Chiba movie, The Bodyguard. It's like they put it on the screen for you to read, before it starts.
I learn about film every day, John.
And the crazy thing is, and they have this. All right, so this cracks me up. His name in the movies, a lot of the movies, is just Chiba. That's his character's name. And at the beginning of The Bodyguard, there's a voice chanting over the titles, "Viva Chiba, Viva Chiba." I was howling. I was like, "This is a."
Is this a series? Is this on TV?
No, this is all on the disc I got. I don't know. It's all
okay.
Right as the movie starts, the voices start chanting "Viva Chiba."
Right.
It's a
I mean the Samuel L. Jackson thing.
That was in it was on Starz Network. I don't know if it's available on DVD or not. But now I'm wasting more time. Hours of my life are being taken up by Kung Fu, more hours than usual. So I want to contact the Film Archives and see if they'll do a Sonny Chiba retrospective.
I wonder if they ever have.
My friend Barrett, Barrett who writes to us occasionally. Hi, Barrett. I for his birthday one year, I got him a Kung Fu Bullfighter, where Sonny Chiba goes up against a bull, like a bullfighter, but using Kung Fu to kill the bull.
The American punk thing is kind of different for Harvard. It certainly brought out a different crowd.
Yeah, it's more mainstream.
Judging by all the I guess one could call them student punks in line at Harvard. And, they nearly sold out. It looked like they nearly sold out Times Square in suburbia, which is kind of rare for Harvard. I don't think they really sell it unless they get a guest over there, like Robert Redford or big filmmaker or something.
They're more of the esoteric,
And it's very important. You know why? Because people, when they see a movie at Harvard, they keep their mouths shut and their cell phones off.
Behave?
They behave.
Even you?
It's very... Even me.
It's a change. It's a change, isn't it?
Even me. Although I will admit to having snuck a cookie in.
Really?
And I feel horrible about it. You're not allowed to eat at the archive. I freaking snuck a cookie in, and I feel completely guilty about it. Confess.
Yeah. There'll be retribution, I'm sure.
John, you sneak meals into movies.
Meals?
Yeah, dinners.
I have it delivered.
Who's that? Liz Smith. I once went to a press screening of David Mamet's Spartan.
Uh-huh.
And this was in New York. And she brought a hot dinner in to the press screening and basically just ate the whole thing, sitting right in front of me.
Right.
One of the most annoying experiences, and yet it was
Liz Smith.
Yeah. Her blonde hair glowing before the... Oh, God.
Oh, well.
I could go into another rant about people eating at theaters. And
no, you can't.
But I'm totally guilty about it because I eat at the theater, too. So.
Well, what was it, yesterday? I went to a 11 o'clock screening, and then I was walking out, and I saw Lauren King walking in. She goes, "What theater is it in?" I go, "What?" She goes, "The 2 o'clock screening." I was like, I didn't know. So I was at the theater from like 10:30 to 4:30.
Let me guess.
Did you wonder I had food delivered.
What was the movie you saw? Was it the...
Moneyball was in the morning.
Oh, right. That was yesterday morning.
And then the afternoon was Machine Gun Preacher. So...
I thought you'd gone to the theater this morning. I thought you'd gone over to Boston Common to check out the Nick Swardston flick.
No.
Wasn't that opening today?
Yeah, why would I go see that?
What's it called? Do you remember?
No. No.
Another one of the September films that they haven't screened for us.
I don't think he's that funny, so I wouldn't waste my time.
It's out there.
I bet.
Bucky something.
Yeah.
We got to get to the review.
All right, which one do you want to do first?
Contagion.
All right. Did you think it was catchy? Sorry.
I really enjoyed the film.
The whole thing?
No, not the whole thing, because it became kind of preachy towards the end. I mean, I think what I want to say is this is produced by Participant Media, and I think Participant is a company that is partially owned by one of the founders of eBay, and their directive is to take social issues and make, a film about them. So they took the media and they made Good Night, Good Luck. They took Big Oil. They made Syriana. I forget the other films they've done, but this one is the pharmaceuticals industry and the ineptitude of being able to find a cure, create once you've found a cure, to be able to mass, produce it and get it out there quickly. And it's kind of in a way sort of an indictment of the FDA, because all these hundreds of thousands of people are dying, and you have to wait how many months to get it approved by the FDA, and while they're waiting, people are dying.
It does take time for these things to be developed and manufactured. I think they put in this character played by Jude Law, the blogger, who sees conspiracy everywhere. So he's kind of the voice for that point of view, that the pharmaceutical money, the pharmaceutical companies are making money and all this other stuff. I like the movie. I like the first half of it. I think it's directed by Steven Soderbergh.
Yeah.
And I think he did a great job of showing how this epidemic or pandemic, whatever it is, because you can catch it through the air or through contact. Every time someone coughs, the movie starts, the screen goes dark and someone coughs. Yeah, every surface someone touches, every time someone coughs or touches another person, there's always that possibility.
You could go back again and watch Gwyneth Paltrow as she leaves Hong Kong. You could look at all the contact that she has with everyone,
right
up until the moment she's foaming at the mouth and convulsing on the kitchen floor. Anyone she's touched or breathed on, and traded a credit card with, has been contaminated.
So I thought that part for building suspense, that was really, really well done. But just as the epidemic starts to blow up, that's where the movie lost me. It became very cold and clinical. It jumped around to way too many characters. It became more preachy, and it just lost me.
It's fascinating in the sense when it becomes about like the downfall of society, about how like the structure sort of implodes, and people are ransacking pharmacies to get the medication, and what are the responses to what kind of response does the government have to people who need this medication? And when it's finally ready, they have a lottery.
Right.
So, it's basically like, chance. It reminded me of that documentary we saw, Waiting for Superman. Like, so, the kids get into the best schools because they're the winners of basically a lottery.
Right.
So you basically are going to live, or receive an injection to be immune from this disease, if you win the lottery.
Right, and I think at that point, that's where the movie was lost me, because I felt like Soderbergh had a checklist. He goes, okay, we got to show people riding in a drugstore. We've got to show this. We've got to show that. It's just none of the scenes.
It was like a neat action flick, and then I knew it was going to become, they were going to, stand up on their soapbox and make a statement.
And I think a big part of the problem for me is the casting, and there's a lot of stunt casting. Matt Damon and Kate Winslet are the exception for me. A lot of it was stunt casting, though. When you bring in, someone like Sanaa Lathan to be the wife. She's a very recognizable face, and she's in one scene. John Hawkes as the janitor,
John Hawkes.
One scene.
Anna Faris.
Yeah. People just come in for that one scene, and I'm looking at them going, hey, there's that face, and not, oh, here's a new character.
Yeah,
so they just
it's
pull
like
me
Woody
out.
Allen. Soderbergh has the ability to be able to do that.
But Alan doesn't pull him in for. If Alan pulls someone in for one scene, it's either for a joke or a punchline or something. I don't have a problem if someone like Damon, who's in the entire film, and he disappears. I don't think he's Matt Damon anymore. I think he's that character. Kate Winslet, I think she's that character.
You do have to set aside your thoughts of this is the actor, the notability of the actor is just pulling you out.
Right. When you have who's the guy from played the dad in Malcolm in the Middle, Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston, yeah.
Yeah, here's the thing. He's in that. He's the the general in Contagion, and I never thought of him as anything but Bryan Cranston. And then we saw him in Drive, where he had a about the same much screen time, and I was like blown away because it was this complete character.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it was that problem, but the stunt casting does work to beautiful effect with Gwyneth Paltrow and what happens to her character,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah,
just
I wished that the movie was more like that after an unforgettable autopsy scene.
Yeah.
That was nice.
yeah.
That's just, it completely appeals to like, the horror-ish type film. But the film never comes back to that.
No, no.
It sort of loses its intensity.
And it gets more intense because it's Gwyneth Paltrow having that done to her. You don't expect an actress like that.
I just walked
to
out
go
of the
through an
theater
autopsy.
thinking, you know what, she did it for the fun of it.
Well,
And that she would let special effects people do that to her face, you know?
Well, Ed Simkis did
Wow.
he interviewed Soderbergh at the junket,
Yeah.
and he asked her about that, and she was just like he said she was a good sport, and she goes, "You better make this iconic," and he did. I mean, that's a pretty
Everybody
amazing
in the
scene.
theater was like, whoa,
Yeah,
when that happened.
yeah,
You know?
great sound effect too.
Yeah.
It's just a great,
Yeah, and I dig
great
Lawrence
sound effect.
Fishburne too.
Yep.
You know, subdued performance, but he's in a way that he's actually really kind of the center of the movie too.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a moral problem here because he's going to have access to this cure,
Right.
whatever it is. And the question is does he give it? Do these people who have access to it first give it to the ones they love? Do they give information first to the ones they love before it reaches the wider public?
Right.
And the human tendency is to, yes,
Mm-hmm.
they do. And it's like not playing fair, but it's like people in a way have this moral thing, and and it's hard not to do that. Ultimately, you're going to do, I think, what they do.
Oh,
which
yeah.
I think is what the movie plays right. And also I wanted to say Jude Law.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to make of him. I actually thought he was going to be like the needle in their foot, the hero. But he's actually he's a profiteer
Well,
in a way.
yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
he brags about the numbers he gets on his blog. I think he made if I recall, he got paid for this.
Oh yeah,
Didn't
he puts out the he meets with the pharmaceutical companies on the sly and says, I've got 12 million unique visitors a month, and I can make them buy whatever drug I tell you, and then he would Forsythia or whatever it's called.
Right, very good. Yeah,
And he makes like
a
4 million.
homeopathic cure.
Yeah.
That the government isn't recognizing.
Right, and the pharmaceuticals end up paying this guy $4 million for the to mention it in his blog. But here's the thing, you talk about it being preachy about health and or the government and all this. Jude Law is a blogger, and Soderbergh, he's got some lines in it. Blogging. He has one character say blogging's just graffiti with punctuation.
Oh,
and they're always
right.
digging at him for being
or
a
his.
blogger.
I remember the other one that got the rise out of the journalist as he was walking away from the government guy. Print media is dead.
Yeah,
You
when he
know?
goes to pitch the story to a newsroom,
Yeah.
and they won't take his word on it just because you saw a viral video or he saw a video of a guy dying
Writing is
in
on the
Tokyo.
wall.
But, so I have trouble with the Jude Law character isn't really well developed. He just seems to be there for Soderbergh to make fun of bloggers. And he gives them this,
Which he does again. He did so, I think, in the Girlfriend Experience.
but he gives them this god-awful crooked front tooth. And it's just like, it's not just, it's not like he's wearing it's a fake nose.
This movie is shot with extreme close-ups, but actually to its benefit because Soderbergh's cinematographer uses a short range of focus.
Mm-hmm.
So the background is blurred, the foreground, off to the side is blurred, but it also gives you sort of this vision of the people who are sick, what they're seeing. And,
Right.
It's sort of this condensed view. It's like a big, small movie. In a way.
But why give this character just, why give Jude Law such rotten teeth?
They really are focused in on his face.
Because every time he talks, you're like, what's the matter with his mouth? Oh, what's the matter with his teeth? Why? Just all he needs
Well,
is
I think
one
some
line.
of it is that because the point of view of the camera is also replicating the point of view of the TV camera.
But all I need is one line in the script saying, I need the money to get my teeth fixed, or I was in a car accident or something. It's just distracting, to give a recognizable face like that. It's like he could have a cleft chin and there's no explanation or anything. It's just, why are you doing this?
I think his character is pretty egotistical,
Oh,
but he
God,
does want to. I think he ultimately does want to get the cure out there. He
as long as it comes from him.
Yeah,
he wants the credit for.
I also think it's kind of ironic that this disease, this malady, this thing that Gwyneth Paltrow contracts was created in China, just through a chance combination of events,
right?
And also the cure, this forsythia plant, this flower, or something, is actually a Chinese thing. So it's like from China, but also cured by China.
I don't think forsythia is not the drug the government comes up with that ultimately cures it.
I think
homeopathic.
forsythia is what he calls it, but it was like this flower or something.
Well, that's the one Jude Law's putting out, but the government comes up with its own. Remember, one of the monkeys survives.
Yeah.
And then, but it was just, and then, what did you think of the ending when they at the very end they explain how the disease really got there?
I thought it was limp.
Yeah.
Lame.
Why bother?
It just was not.
I mean, you go through the whole point.
The movie kind of peters out.
Yeah, it does.
That's sort
it
of what
does.
happens.
And I think it was obviously he was painting himself in a corner and just didn't know what to do because there's a rush of quick fixes at the end that don't have the because it's under 2 hours. It needs to be stretched out more, or cut down with why do we have to have the scene of a guy from China kidnapping a World Health Organization official and holding a ransom
that
to save his
with,
village?
Marion Cotillard.
Yeah, I mean, besides the fact that you've got her and you want to show her, but it doesn't go
I think
anywhere.
it's just to express what the lengths that people will go to save their own people.
Right, but again, I think it goes back
to infiltrate an inept system. Because it's about it's not just the disease that's the contagion. It's also the spreading of fear, the spreading of mistrust against
desperation,
the governments that are supposed to be helping with this.
Again, it's not developed in any kind of appreciable way. It's just there, and then when they go back to it at one point, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. Mm-hmm. That it's not like the focus of the movie is to get her back.
It didn't come around.
No, not at all. Not at all.
It does become kind of a procedural.
Yeah, but not a very good one.
I think the best story of these stories is Matt Damon, his character. He loses his wife, Gwyneth Paltrow, and his son. But he has a daughter who happened to not be home when his wife got home.
Right.
And he is trying to repel the advances of a young boy who lives across the street.
Yeah.
So that subplot was
the advances on his daughter, not on Matt Damon. I want to make that clear.
Yeah.
This young boy was after Matt Damon, and he was repulsed.
Matt Damon, man, when is he not good?
I don't know.
Was he not good in anything? Has he done something bad yet?
Oh yeah, Jerry.
Oh, Jerry.
But I think that was a Gus Van. The thing I like about Damon's career is that he will take the leading man stuff, and he'll also take the artsy fartsy stuff, and he'll take the supporting role if it means something to him or if it's to help someone get a film made. Wasn't he in? What was that? That was a National Lampoon. Was it Euro Trip or something like that? He played like a punk rocker, head shaved, tattoos all over his neck. He sang in the opening song. And that was it because his buddy was directing the movie.
What, like Road Trip?
Road Trip, yeah.
Really?
He's in the punk band at the very beginning. He's the lead singer in the punk band.
Oh, Dogma. No, I'm talking about like something sort of kind of possibly lame that Matt Damon has done.
To help his friend Kevin Smith.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
So... But yeah, I just appreciate it. And he always brings the same level of commitment to everything he does. And he's a nice guy.
He brings the Matt Damon world of belief. You believe what he's doing no matter what he's doing.
Pretty much. And
South African soccer player.
And like I said, you forget it's Matt Damon after a while. He gives that kind of commitment to a character. He's a great character actor too, but
he's like the leading guy. Good point. He's like the leading guy who's a great character actor.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always enjoyed, even like stuff like, was that Clint Eastwood one, Hereafter?
Yeah.
That was I did not like that movie, but he was good in it.
He was?
So.
And it's time for some Warrior.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think in general, I'd wait for Contagion on TV. Or I was wondering, this is being shown in IMAX. Why would you want to see this in IMAX except to see the? I don't know if it's at the Commons or not, but when you see the commercial on TV, it goes, showing in 2D and IMAX.
What about this is IMAX worthy?
Nothing. It's not going to look good on IMAX because it's Soderbergh's handheld, It's just this is probably shot on video.
Maybe it comes down to just putting product on an IMAX screen.
I would love to walk in and watch the autopsy in IMAX, but that's just me. Anyway, yeah, let's go on to Warrior.
This is the better of the films.
Yeah.
Warrior. Come on.
No, I mean that. I mean
Really?
that. Yeah. I can't remember the last time I sat in a movie and ducked when a punch was thrown.
This is a visceral
Yeah.
film and completely predictable.
Yep.
But yet
Who cares?
one feels like vindicated for, with the direction of the film.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good movie.
It was only after I walked out that I began to think about, how corny it was or,
Yeah.
how over the top a lot of it was. But as it's going on, I was completely wrapped up in the saga of two brothers
Yeah.
fighting for their lives, metaphorically,
And
in the MMA ring.
And this movie is 2 hours and 20 minutes.
It doesn't feel
It
it.
didn't feel like it.
No.
Strangely enough. I don't know why. I guess maybe I thought that there was it could have ended at a couple of certain points, but ultimately, ultimately half of this movie sort of becomes like this fight at the end. It spends a lot of time building the characters, which are these two brothers played by Tom Hardy and oh God, who's the guy from Animal Kingdom? Joel Edgerton.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both periodically visiting their dad, played by Nick Nolte, who's kind of for lack of a better way to describe it, broken down drunk,
I think that's pretty succinct.
who loves Melville's Moby Dick
Yeah.
on audiobook. Well, but it's an important point in the movie is that I think that the reason he listens to Moby Dick is a story about obsession,
Yeah.
which plays into what these guys are doing. One of them, Tom Hardy, is I think he's AWOL
Right.
from the army.
No, he's a hero.
He is running from an incident that occurred in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was actually going AWOL when he ran into a firefight and saved someone.
Yeah.
And the guy he saved recognizes him on a YouTube video from a fight, and they make a hero out of him even though he's AWOL.
Yeah, and Tom Hardy's got this crazy intensity. I mean, he's like fighter of fighters. This guy, he instills fear in the enemy,
in the audience.
In the audience,
Let alone the enemy.
blows are like deadly.
He is, pardon my French listeners, but he's a fucking animal. He is just this
Which is great.
beast. It's just what the movie needs, He has no neck. His shoulder muscles go up to his eyebrows.
But he's also devoid of other feelings. He's so
Yeah.
singular intent that his ferocity is fearsome. It's dangerous.
The only time you see any other emotion from him is when he's talking on the phone to the buddy of or the wife of his friend in the war who died, and that's the reason he went AWOL, because of the brutal way his friend died. But he vowed that he would take care of his wife and family, and that's why he's in the ring to fight,
Yeah.
to get money to help his dead friend's wife.
Right. And Joel Edgerton's character is a physics teacher at the local high school who basically isn't making enough money to make ends meet.
Right, the bank, his mortgage payment balloons on him, and he needs to make more money. So he ends up doing these smoker fights in the parking lots of strip clubs.
Yeah.
That are brutal.
Which is actually causing an issue with the school.
Right, right, because the kids.
The principal's going to basically let him go.
He gets suspended because you can't be doing that.
But it's an interesting point to be made. I think is that in some way both of these guys have had if you look at this from a manhood point of view, everything that they've tried to build has been taken away from them. This one guy can't support his family, the other guy just doesn't have a life. So it's like they've been so stripped away from. Yeah,
their father figure's a mess. Their child, they were abused as kids, and they come from broken homes, and a drunk
so the setup
father.
is the only thing that they've got is their ability to fight. It's
Yeah.
the only thing they've got to stand up and be a man and fight. Because it's not working at home. It's not working in their at the bank. In their bank accounts. It's not working. In just these other areas of their lives. But they both fall back on. I think they were kind of notable in MMA at one time?
Well, the guy who's a physics teacher had a career in it, but his wife made him give it up because she didn't want to, seeing him in the hospital one night
Right.
because now he's got a family. I don't know if the other kid was a champion wrestler in high school and college that gave it up, I guess, when his dad, and mom got divorced. And
It's interesting how Edgerton's physics teacher character kind of works into his style of fighting, which is, since he's a smaller guy than Tom Hardy, his is based on, force equals mass times acceleration.
I
So
don't-
he has the leverage,
yeah, it's
to
more
his
clinical.
advantage. Yeah. And
The other guy's just an animal.
I think there was a point halfway through this film I thought this is about MMA fighting. The desire to see the actual fighting going on, that is, you get the fighting. I mean, this
Yeah.
movie, lots and lots of fighting.
And just
good stuff.
really well shot, edited,
Right.
great stuff. And you may not, you probably couldn't predict this, but eventually the two brothers enter a tournament for like $5 million.
The Spartan.
Yeah, winner take all
Tournament.
thing, elimination fight. So they have to fight their way up the ranks.
Yeah, but they don't. Do they? They don't know that each of them is in the.
They
in the
see
thing.
each other, like they know each other because they're in the program and stuff, but they don't talk. They don't meet until they have that scene on the beach. But then, this won't be a spoiler, but
That's right.
They'll
It's
end
at,
up,
at Atlantic City on the beach.
yeah, they'll end up fighting for the money against each other. Dun dun dun. But at that point,
the showdown's coming.
but at that
It's-
point,
it's
you have
building
no
towards
idea
that.
how it's going to go.
Yeah.
It could go either way. And because we've seen the scientific against the more animalistic. We've seen the fights building up to it. There's this Russian guy played by Kurt Angle, the professional wrestler.
Oh, he was good.
That is supposed to be the obvious winner of the whole thing, and the physics teacher is the one who has to defeat him to get into the. I thought it was going to be the animal
You
brother.
didn't think. I mean, you can't believe that Joel Edgerton's character is able to advance. Because he just seems more fragile
Yeah.
than the other guys. But it's not always about.
He's got-
Obviously, it's not always about brute force, which is how Tom Hardy's character makes it.
Right, and it's also a lot about desire. He's fighting for his family.
Right. And you know what I think? I think what they do well with this film is that it could have been just brutish, but they really do allow you to care about these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, they're muscleheads, but there's something about them that they have a certain fragility about them that actually allows you to care about them. And
Well, at least one of them does. I don't think the Tom Hardy character has
Less
much
so.
fragility. Yeah.
no, he doesn't.
He's angry.
He does.
Yeah.
But it's like a rare thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a small crack in his facade of anger. And believe me, he has a lot of. Man, if this guy he just lives in the past.
He has issues.
Serious issues. Good film.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
film. It's made by the guy who did a couple years ago. I don't know if you saw it, the Miracle, the Kurt Russell
The hockey movie?
hockey flick.
Yeah. Of
Gavin,
course, I had to
what's
see
his
it. Don't you
name?
have to see that to be an American?
Yeah,
I think so.
Gavin O'Connor.
Yeah. Again, that was a good sports movie, predictable, especially because we knew how that ended.
Yeah.
But well made.
This may be. I was talking with our buddy Bob Chipman afterward. He says his opinion is that this is the movie that the MMA guys wanted. This is the movie that the sport wanted, and it's a good film.
Oh yeah, this is a big advertisement for MMA.
So I would definitely say, go pay the $11 for it.
Yeah, and then it doesn't need to be in 3D. It doesn't need to be in IMAX. It's just as intense on the big screen and the normal big screen. I had a blast.
Yeah, John, this is probably one of our least amusing episodes. Straight
Not my
up
fault.
conversation.
Okay.
Straight up, no tits.
Well, not we didn't vocalize, but I'm always thinking.
That's true. We could have gotten into the conversation about Drive, which we saw earlier this week, which we'll
Let's
talk
save
about
it.
next week. Excellent film.
Yeah.
Excellent film. Best strip club dressing room scene I've seen in a long time. At least since Showgirls.
Showgirls.
John, the strip
Girls
club dressing room
I
scene.
remember. I'm saving it.
Oh, okay. All right. Good job. Good job. Hey, so check us out online. We're at post-movie.net and on Facebook, too. We do actually visit Facebook. And send us an email. We'd really like to know what you think of the show. So drop us a line. Contact at post-movie.net and subscribe to us on iTunes. You think of anything else, John?
Nope.
I think we're good. Until next week, everyone. I'm Steve Head.
I'm John Black.
So long.